Hey guys, so today you and I are going to talk about companies. So let's get into it. So the question in question was, Frederick, unfortunately I have been working in one of the more vicious types of companies. We had a misfit of personalities and working style with the director, and they used aggressive warnings as a tools to bypass the 2 weeks notice without any clear explanation. How would you protect yourself in this situation? Do you have any advice? Yes, I do, because I have had my experience with this sort of thing. So the thing I have to start off by saying is that the labor laws and like what's true for your region, and it might not be true for my region and vice versa, of course. So you have to understand that every country works a little bit different, every region works a little bit different, etc., etc. You kind of have to know what's relevant in your specific part of the world. But I can give you the general gist of what happens when there's bad blood between an employee and the company, and they are what usually will be attempted in many cases when that happens and they have decided, hey, you know what, we're going to get rid of you. So if they are, depending on, like, the most common thing that might happen is, for example, that they will try to give you a lot of shit work. Like, they will try to find flaws with everything. That's a very good tell. They're going to try to figure out to either put you in situations where you're unhappy, or where they can find flaws with everything you do, because what they're trying to do, depending on labor laws and so forth, is to build up justification for firing you, so that they either just for themselves or for some other legal entity, if they have to take this thing to court, have something to show. That's the first thing they're going to do. So what you need to do first and foremost is document everything that is going on, literally everything, and I mean everything. I mean, if you have to bring a tape recorder into that feedback meeting they're gonna give you on your performance, because that's the thing, guys. You have to remember that it might seem silly, but if this thing goes to court, it will be your word against their word. And that's why you can trust me on this. If they're serious about this, and like, because that's the bad thing about labor laws, if the company goes about it and like they're aggressive enough and really want it, they can find ways of making those labor laws not mean all that much, and then it comes down to you proving that they have misbehaved in some way, and that's what they're trying to do to you. So document everything, especially everything that gives strength to your case. You should, at this point, like, if you got into this point where you feel like they're coming for you like this, treat them as a hostile entity. Treat them as someone who is now trying to openly attack you, and you have to cut all trust with them, basically. Keep up appearances, keep on showing up for work, like, do your job, but like, make sure that you are preparing yourself, because the thing is, you cannot just stop caring about your work even if they tell you that they're going to fire you or whatever, because if you do, they can use that as another thing, like, oh, he's not performing or she's not doing her job, etc., etc., after we, all of this, right? And remember, it's your word against theirs. So if they find witnesses that can back up their side of the story, even if you know more, and they're actually, because I've seen this too, they will actually in some cases just lie. They will lie to do what they, like, this is why I keep on telling people, do not ever buy in to the absolute bull crap that some of you are going to be spoon-fed, especially in the startups, that we're all a big family here, it's all love and rainbows. Yes, as long as there's enough money and as long as they like you. Yes. If you do, if something, I promise you guys, people will always prioritize themselves. Almost like all. It's not always, but it's the rule. So do not put yourself in a situation where you stick your neck out and get liable for things that shouldn't be something that you should take responsibility for. So build up and document everything, especially before they start locking you out of systems and things like that, because trust me, in the age of instant messaging and like all of this stuff, they will find things, and they will do everything they can to find things. So the next thing you need to do is to get character witnesses, co-workers that will go like and vouch for you, things like that. You might need to contact, if you're part of a union, that's a very good thing, or you get like legal counsel from a private firm or something like that, because as I said, usually these things, they turn into a word against word type of deal, and it's honestly, it's really hard to prove anything definitively in these sorts of situations without witnesses. So that's what they're going to do. Like, they're going to try to find anyone and everybody who's going to say something bad about you, and you can bet your last buck on that that's going to include practically everybody in management. Well, because I mean, if they don't play ball, guess what happens. So I mean, it's that's why this is such a tricky situation. That's why being likable and those soft skills, they come in really useful now. And then if you're really lucky, they might have a really weak case against you, and maybe your labor laws are really good, and so they will try to get they won't be able to do much more than threaten you and give you a hard time and like do what they can within the confines of the laws. And in some cases they will actually pay you to go away, where they will offer you as like a sum of money to say, hey, yeah, I'm gonna resign now, which is also something that can happen. And you have to decide for yourself, like, what's the way to do, how do you want to play this. But at the very least, if you get to this point, guys, don't try to emotionally immediately let go of the company. You can fight the good fight and like prove them wrong and like do all these things, but like do not like try to fix the situation, because if they've gone this far, it's very bad for you to go in with the mindset that, oh, I can fix this, everything. Like, don't do that. Start looking for a new job. Start taking preparations to save your own skin, because that is what they are doing. And if you do lose your job and like things go the way that, in the worst case scenario, the way that you leave that company, if you get fired and you might not find something that to take its place, you might actually hurt your career long term. So it's better to just immediately get on the job posting sites and like all of that stuff while you still have a job and like all these things is going on, because it's a done deal basically. It's if it goes this far. So what I want you to take away from this is that if you find yourself in a situation where your company is trying to either circumvent the laws of the country, or they're trying to very actively get rid of you, and they're building up a case against you. It doesn't have to be a legal case. They're trying to find justification for firing you. The most common way that you will see this is that you've had a period, like there's bad blood. They will start trying to find flaws with everything you do. They will start giving you warnings, and they will report you to whoever is in charge, right? And when this starts to happen, it is vital that you document everything that you can find, and I'm not talking about putting things online. I'm talking about pulling down all your corporate emails, pulling down all Slack conversations, pulling down every single thing that has been written down to a place where they have no access, because if they go far enough, they will lock you out of those systems. I promise you they will do that, because I've seen it happen. And it is very important that you get legal counsel, either from a union or privately or so forth, so you know what's going on, what they can do, what they can't do, and bring all this evidence with you, document everything, even if it requires a tape recorder in those feedback meetings. And as I said, try to get character witnesses, try to get some people to vouch for you, make sure that you have people who will back you up, because usually that is where it's going to land. If you're lucky, you might actually get some money to go away, but at the very least, start immediately looking for another job. Like right off the bat, as soon as you start getting that gut feeling that, oh, they're kind of gunning for me now. Have a great day.